Hello, everybody. It's me, Albatross. And I've been, doing something, and I'm going to do something a little different for this video. Because, for the past 6 months, me and many others have been on social media and stuff, like talking about all these missing migrant children that the Biden administration lost and that the Trump administration is now refusing to acknowledge or possibly look for. Hopefully someone's looking for him. But no one knows because they won't talk about it. And I was crunching numbers. And I want to put this into perspective for everybody because there's a lot of people out there. You remember back a few months ago when Trump, like the one time he did talk about this, all these missing migrant children, the one time he did talk about it, all these news article headlines came out. And they would say stuff like, 400,000 missing children. Is this accurate? Or insinuating that he's like making this up. Right? A lot of headlines did that. And unfortunately, a lot of people, and even including myself, sometimes all we do is read the headlines and then that's it. But since this is a topic of such interest to me, I read these articles and it is such bullcrap because in the articles, they do acknowledge that there are, in fact, at the very least, 300,000 missing children. They acknowledge it. But what they say is, well, he over-exaggerated because you see, the extra, 100,000 kids, they're the ones who didn't get court dates. Like, the rest of them, they all got court dates and they all had an address on file. They just didn't show up to those court dates and weren't at that address. They're not missing. They're just not at the place they said they would be. And, it's like scratching your head, what? So they are still missing. So, yeah, they're just totally trying to gaslight it. And, they are undervaluing the gravity of what this actually means. All those children. So many. So many. And let's put it into perspective now. Because let's look at the population of some certain big cities in the U.S. and compare. So now, okay, right here I describe, at the very most, the number it got as high as 420,000 missing migrant children in the U.S. Then all those critical articles came out and they say that no. It's only 300,000 missing or something like that. I'll have to go back and double check, but it was something to that effect. That it was only 300,000. It wasn't, it wasn't as many as we think, as if it made it somewhat less serious. Well, let's see if it does. Because let's put this in perspective here for a minute. Now, let's look at the population of Seattle, for example. 300,000. That's almost half of the population of Seattle. All those children. Let's just say half of Seattle goes missing. Or almost half of Seattle goes missing. And no one talks about it. Or the half of Detroit goes missing. No one talks about it. Or God forbid, half of Washington, D.C. go missing. And no one talk about it. Or Boston. And listen, those are the bigger cities. Let's look at some smaller, more well-known cities, like Sacramento, California, for example. Well, regardless of which number it is, that's more than half of the population of Sacramento, California, Atlanta, Georgia, Baltimore, Maryland, and it's almost the whole population of Miami, Florida. Let's look at some more cities. Oakland, California, where they have a population of about 436,000 people. That'd be almost the entire city going missing. Let's go all the way down to Honolulu. Let's give the estimate of missing migrant children about midway from the critics to what the Trump is saying is actually missing. That is the entire population of Honolulu. The entire population. Let's look at some other cities. Oh my God. See, look at this. Anchorage, Alaska, where they have a population of 290,000. That would be as if the entire city plus extra of Anchorage, Alaska goes missing. And then we got Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and they seem to have like exactly 300,000. That's like the exact number of missing migrant children we have in the United States. That is the whole freaking city of Pittsburgh. How do this many children go missing? And everyone is refusing to talk about it. And this is why I partially understand why people are getting a little frustrated by hearing about Epstein. Because he's dead now. Yeah, maybe his co-conspirators are out there running around. Well, I mean, obviously there are. Because there are 500,000 missing children in our country. You think that was just an accident that they all just disappeared? Well, where are they? If it's not trafficking, why haven't they been found? Why haven't they reported they've been found? You see where I'm going with this? Now let's look at some of these people's hometowns. Some of the people who are responsible for sweeping this under the rug. Joe Biden's hometown of Wilmington, Delaware, has a population of 72,000. That would be like 3 or 4 Wilmington, Delaware's going missing. Pam Bondi's hometown, Temple Terrace, Florida. They have a population 27,000. Pam Bondi, what do you think about all this, huh? What if, like, the population of your town times what, like 6 goes missing? You're just going to ignore it? Right here in our country. And you're just going to ignore it? Now, I don't want to focus too much on Bondi or them, because what about, like, Kamala Harris? Her hometown, Berkeley, California, 119,000. That's about half of the missing children. So it'd be like 2 Berkeley, California going missing. Oh my God, Bill Clinton's hometown. Huh. How many would that be like? That would be like, oh my God, like 10 or 20 of his hometowns. That amount of people going missing. Like, do you see where I'm going with this? Now let's take all 4 of these people's hometown and add them all up together. Joe Biden's, Pam Bondi's, Kamala Harris, and Bill Clinton's. Let's add up the populations of all their hometowns. It still doesn't equal the amount of missing migrant children in the United States right now. It still doesn't equal that. So it's basically an entire city's worth. In a good city, large, not like a small rural city, like a big city, that amount of children, how could they just vanish off the face of the earth without a trace coming into the United States? Like, where are they? Like, it's just frustrating because it's like you see the mind control all around you, and it's so obvious. Because if there were no mind control, there would be someone talking about this. If there were no CIA or things controlling the media, if there were no deep state, then why aren't they talking about this? Why aren't they talking about this? You've still got people out there who just think that the like organizations like the FBI and the CIA are like without sin, or like with all these, just because we have been so programmed to be lazy and not research and do any research and just believe what everyone is telling us, when all we got to do is just go look, and you see all of this. And it's so frustrating. It's like, why is it going to take Donald Trump or someone in a position to tell us that it's important that we talk about these missing children, for people to actually think it's important to talk about these missing children? That's how mind controlled we are. It's like, no, we gotta wait for someone of authority to confirm this. Like, what? They already have. They confirmed it and then stopped talking about it. And it's all a big joke. It's all a big conspiracy theory until it's your kids that it happens to. So it takes all this suffering and all this death and all of this just to get people to care about this. when it's so easy. No, it's not easy for one person to make a difference. If we all started doing and talking about it, it would be so easy. Like, let's not pretend like the deep state will always be and they'll always have the ultimate say. Let's not pretend for a minute like there haven't been moments in history where good people changed it. We can change it. Like, what is this attitude that everyone has? That, oh, well, there's nothing we can do about it. What can we do about it? Everything. Anything. Everything and everything. And like I said, I don't care how awesome or great Trump makes this nation. Like, what does the Bible say about it? What good is it to gain the whole world in exchange for your soul? What have you gained? You haven't gained anything. Our children are our future. Our children are the most important part of society, the most vulnerable part of society. And no, I don't appreciate Donald Trump trying to turn it into a right versus left, a Democrat versus Republican. I don't appreciate that. Child trafficking is not political. It's wrong. It's evil. And it's not a hoax. Donald Trump. But all you seem to care about... No, I don't even know if it's that. I think it's just you're just trying to distract us with all this, like, stuff that Tulsi Gabbard just recently released about, like, you know, the Russia inclusion. Stuff we've all already known. I mean, we all already knew it was all a bunch of bullshit. Didn't we already know? We all already knew. It was like you were just saving those documents, though, for a time such as this. Be like, hey, snap. Look over here. Look over here. Forget about all that Epstein stuff. Look at here. Look at here. Forget about the missing kids. Forget about the child trafficking. Look at this. Look at what Obama did. Look what Obama did. Even though he failed at doing it, he still tried to do it. And just like they got everyone all excited about the Epstein files, watch. Mark my words. They're going to get everyone all hopped up and excited about getting justice for Fauci, for example. Going to get everyone all hopped up and excited. Then to turn around to say, oh, he didn't experiment on children. He didn't do anything wrong. Just like they're doing with Epstein now. And then, if we start to question it, it was just a Democratic hoax. It was all a hoax. If you believe it, then you're an evil Democrat. It's like, shut up. We are past that. We are so past that. And you see, this is what I'm worried about. I don't think Donald Trump wants these corrupt systems to go away. I think he actually maybe even thinks in his head that he can somehow, like for the CIA, for example, I think he actually thinks he can fix the CIA. Make it like a white hat organization somehow. But here's the thing. Haven't you ever heard of the expression or the warnings about foundations and stuff? Like, if the foundation of something is bad from the start, that everything you build upon that bad foundation is going to be bad, no matter how hard you try? Well, that, in my opinion, that's kind of, like, essentially, what are we doing? Just eliminate it, destroy it, get rid of it, and build a better, more wholesome organization from the ground up. But he doesn't want to do that. He doesn't want to do that. And I'm suspicious that he may have sold out. When, honestly, when I first saw that article that he was asking Larry Fink, CEO of BlackRock, for help in securing the Panama Canal. Larry Fink, the man who secretly owns every business in the whole entire earth, that Larry Fink, asked him as a favor for Trump if he could buy the Panama Canal so he could have even more control over business and trade. Like, that was a huge red flag for me. And it just seems like all these decisions since then, especially pertaining to these missing migrant children. Now, I will say, maybe he did stop it he is preventing more children from being trafficked. But what about the ones that are still missing? What about them? Like, it's time to be for real. Like, when are we going to talk about this? And I really don't want to hear people try to say, well, I didn't know. I didn't know. We did know. Trump campaigned on it. He talked about it. And then the moment he got elected, he stopped talking about it. And I know I keep hearing people say that, oh, he campaigned on Epstein. He campaigned on the release of these files. Well, maybe the cabinet or the people he chose campaigned on it. But I certainly remember the interview when he was being asked about it. He was adamant about releasing every single one of the controversial documents, like the JFK files, the 9/11 files, the MLK files. He was adamant about releasing all of them. But then when he was asked about Epstein, he hesitated. I remember that. He hesitated. This was before he was elected. So I don't know what his cabinet's thoughts on it was, but he seemed hesitant about it from the beginning, which kind of tells me that he could be the one possibly throwing Pam Bondi under the bus. Perhaps she was all ready to release it all, and then he's like, nah, don't, after she had already done promised us all. I mean, he was in office another time, and he could have released the stuff then. I mean, like, maybe not about the 2019 thing, but, like, definitely about the early 2000s indictment. He could have released it then. About the sweetheart deal. In fact, he chose the prosecutor who did that deal as his labor secretary. And yes, he absolutely did know about the sweetheart deal when it happened. He was friends with Epstein. For Christ's sake. The whole world knew about that sweetheart deal that Alex Acosta gave Epstein. Then Donald Trump turns around and chooses that same guy as his... Like, stop. There's something, like, fishy going on. There certainly is. And it's disgusting. It is. I'm sorry, it is. I don't care how much people love Trump. I don't care what promises he keeps. If it's for the expense in the safety of our children, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Anyways, have a good day.